Can't get it on screen. Why is that happening? Oh my god. Why are you doing this? Why are you acting weird like this? It's right there. Why don't you see it? There it is. Holy moly. Gotta get it on screen so it'll happen on screen. We were at 48.1, guys, and I missed it, but you'll see it right there. 48, there it is, 48. Great. So, excellent. Give me a second here. Get rid of the rumble. Hey, Karen. Hey, Crispy Cat. Yeah, I wasn't expecting to go live, but I found January 6th. I found the January 6th video, man. Me on January 6th. It was on Facebook, and I found the video. So I put a link up on Twitter. And hashtag insurrection, hashtag, January 6th. So I can find it. So I have to promote this really quick on Twitter and then on Truth. So I've got something really good here that I said on that show, and I want you guys to see it. It's right here. 139.20. Okay, here's 138.44.
Scary scene, plain and simple. It is a scary scene, and every American has the right to protest, even if what they're protesting is a fantasy, meaning that the President of the United States won the election. He did not. But as Phil was noting and Ronnie was noting, the President of the United States encouraged these protesters, and at one point said he might go with them.
Wrong window.
Maybe they just fucking hate the government. You ever think that? Maybe they don't care whether Trump won the election or not. Maybe they just needed a catalyst so they could finally go out there and burn that motherfucker down. And let me tell you something.
Here.
I told you guys I was going to get popcorn and watch this and enjoy it, and I am. And if they burn that motherfucker down, I'll laugh and laugh and laugh. You know why? Because fuck this goddamn government. And hey, I'm not saying the election wasn't legit. I'm just saying it just took a straw to break the camel's back. And that could very well be what we're witnessing right now, folks. If Washington, D.C. doesn't have the balls to repel these protesters and get them back into the street where they belong.
God, I can't find the page.
This could be the start of a goddamn war.
This is so weird.
It might not be a civil war. It might be a full-on, the end of the goddamn world starting right now. This could be it. This could be it, guys.
I don't
lost the election. They have every right to be mad and upset about that, but they do.
I don't know why I can't find the page to put it up on the screen. This is acting so weird. There it is.
I'm not trying to scare y'all. I'm just saying, hey, you should probably keep watching the show.
Often conflicting information in situations like this, but Congresswoman Elaine Loria of Virginia,
I'm gonna go make some popcorn for real.
I just had to evacuate my office.
I'm gonna go make some popcorn for real.
I went to go make popcorn. That's funny.
Supporters of the president are trying to force their way into the Capitol, and I can hear what sounds like multiple gunshots. Now, again, I want to be clear. When you have a chaotic situation like this, there's often conflicting information about what actually happened. We'll explore whether there are such threats, but clearly, members of Congress are among those who feel unsafe right now.
All right, let's go to Mano Raja right now. He's getting more information.
All right.
Mano, what are you learning? Now, we have been told...
So we don't have to watch this because I'll get in trouble for showing the footage. But let's get back to where I get back with the popcorn and see if I say anything else.
The
crowd is bigger on the west side because they are able to kind of receive people in that open space there from the ellipse. And
So
but there were a
you
lot
can
of
see
progressive
the
laws, a lot of
we're much more
flags,
clear now.
a
But
lot
let me
of
turn my
tension
lights
there,
on.
and lines will breach there as well. So the real question, as we see this kind of tension boiling here, is, you know, are there going to be massive police reinforcements coming, and how long they're going to let this go on?
See how clear it is, guys?
Yeah, it looks really dangerous.
Stand by.
Your Bitcoin's at 20.
Back and stand by.
26.8.
Actually got inside Capitol Hill. Normally you have to go through.
Look at me.
metal
Look at me.
Police are examining you. Did they just rush through? And do we know if
Look
these
at me.
individuals are armed?
Good question, Wolf.
Dude, I'm hilarious.
But the fact that they got in suggests they did not go through the security. Remember, this building has been closed off to visitors since the pandemic
I'm so funny.
began. So only people who have credentials, like reporters, staff members, and people who work in the Capitol building, and the members of Congress themselves, they're the only ones who are allowed in this building. The fact that we have many protesters who are now inside the building suggests they breached the security, the police officers that are guarding the exit. Somehow they got in, got past the security, the magnetometers that are.
We should be okay watching this broken up. I'm hoping. Just strike all my YouTube channels, and hey, all the YouTube fans know, come on over to Rumble. I'm not going to be on YouTube forever. They're already striking me, guys, for old shit. Make the switch now. Make the switch now. And you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. Dude, the look on my face right there is fucking priceless. This goes on for 4 more hours, this video.
Firearms or other weapons inside the building. So somehow they got into the building, and from the pictures that we have seen, Wolf, they are in the Senate. They are on the second floor of the Senate. This is exactly where the Senate debate was just happening. Just steps from that, Wolf. And we're told also that the Capitol Police have instructed the lawmakers themselves, the whole building is in lockdown to stay where they are. So both chambers are now in recess. They have paused this certification of the electoral votes. They are sitting in their chambers as this situation, unprecedented situation, escalates. Protesters inside the building somehow have gone in, creating a very tense and scary situation in which staff members...
So people ask me about January 6th. I covered it when it happened live. And here it is. That's me covering it as it happened.
What they have, whether people have weapons, because of concerns that this is going to escalate even further out of control.
Yeah, this is, looking at inside, look at this, these protesters are inside Statuary Hall right now. You see the statues. This is a moment I never saw in my life. These individuals just rush through security. They are inside Statuary Hall. This is a legendary place where all of us who covered Capitol Hill, it's hard to believe what we're seeing right there. They're just walking through. Where are Capitol Police? It's an awful situation. They're having a good time in Statuary Hall. Jay Tapper, I don't know about you, but this is an incredibly dangerous situation that's unfolding here in the United States.
It's stunning, Wolf. It's absolutely stunning, and it's quite frankly dangerous. President Trump could stop this with one tweet, but instead he's on Twitter attacking Vice President Pence for refusing to go along with his attempt at a bloodless coup. We hope it stays bloodless.
The John Gates already been left open.
Protesters,
10:30.
senators. You have people, members of Congress being evacuated because of bomb threats. You have protesters right outside the Senate chamber.
What Jay Tapper just said, Donald Trump can stop this with one tweet. No, people are sick, and it's not just about the election. People are angry. This was just a catalyst, and this is the beginning, guys. You guys are watching the correct podcast when you're watching this one.
He could stop this. He could stop it with one tweet, he will not, because, frankly, he likes this.
The game's already been opened up.
By not discouraging what we are seeing, the president is encouraging what we are seeing. just as he has in a much more overt way.
No law regarding cannabis, everybody. Cheers.
With his tweets. Completely irresponsible, and this is the result of that. Unfortunately, as unusual and as terrifying and as surprising as what we are seeing is going on, in a lot of ways it is one of the least surprising things. What is remarkable is that this kind of thing hasn't happened earlier, because that these protesters, who of course have the right to protest, but this is beyond that. As John said, this is basically taking over, storming the Capitol, it's anarchy. It really is anarchy. And the president has encouraged this time and time again, and they are stopping the constitutional, peaceful transfer of power.
I want to bring in that panel, Brian, who has some more breaking news about the security issues at the United States Capitol, which has now been stormed by hundreds of Trump supporters who have been fed the lie for months by the president and others that the election was fraudulent. It was not, but they are angry, they're upset, and now there is a very real risk of violence. Pamela?
Absolutely. I've spoken to several sources, Jake, who tell me that the situation is getting out of control, that it has turned insane, and frankly, and that the other law enforcement has been asked to help by Capitol Police. They have been reaching out to federal authorities and local authorities, asking them to come help. I'm told by local law enforcement sources that the MPD Civil Disturbance Unit personnel, they have been deployed there to the Capitol building to help. Other federal authorities have been called to help. And another issue they're dealing with, there are several suspicions around the building that the Capitol Police are looking at. They are examining these suspicious packages. We know, we've already reported that we have heard flashbangs there. I'm also told from a source on the ground that pepper spray has been deployed and so forth. So there are multiple security situations going on as we are seeing this unfold there in real time, this remarkable, unprecedented situation at the Capitol building.
The definition of sedition is to try to overturn the rule of law through force, and that is what we are witnessing. Trump supporters who have been lied to by Trump and his minions, individuals like Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley, lied to by MAGA media, have been incensed and outraged, and they're now resorting to physically trying to storm the Capitol to stop the constitutional process of electors being counted for the person who won the election, Joe Biden, the president-elect. That is what's going on. That is what we are witnessing, and there are a lot of people who are complicit in this. It will not succeed. Joe Biden will be sworn in on January 20th, but at some point, you have to ask yourself, if you're Josh Hawley or Ted Cruz or Matt Gaetz or either of the Murdochs,
168.5% on my Bitcoin.
What am I doing? What am I creating here? What have I unleashed? This is the United States of America, and we're watching protesters try to undermine the course of an election, a constitutional process, through force, by storming the United States Capitol.
Look at that. That is outside. Jake, I'm sorry to interrupt, but look at those pictures. Have you ever seen anything like that? I mean, these are protesters outside on the steps of the Capitol. They're physically in there.
Well, it's a fitting end to an era that has been characterized by lawlessness. That President Trump, the reason this is happening is because President Trump wanted Vice President Pence to act in a lawless way in his procedural duties today, and now his supporters, in their anger, are basically breaking into the Capitol, forcing members of Congress to go into hiding because they've been, as you said, Jake.
Listen to this stupid fucking cunt on CNN.
I love that.
To tell you what's going on in their heads. She knows.
Right.
Oh, they're mad because Pence isn't gonna. No. You're a dumb cunt. Shut the fuck up. Cut her off, Jake. Don't let her talk. Talk about fucking fake news and spin. She's gonna tell us what these Trump supporters are. Please. Oh, just to be clear.
Said nothing to disavow this, to condemn the violence. Exactly. In fact, he has been upping the rhetoric against Mike Pence. And that is...
Hey, Tony.
It's beyond irresponsible. He has a responsibility. These are his supporters. They're carrying Trump flags.
You guys want to know what's going to happen next? You hear these motherfuckers talking out their ass?
They're going to come to CNN.
Protesters are going to start showing up outside CNN.
I remember saying that.
Watch. Protesters are going to start showing up outside CNN.
More police reinforcements are coming to Capitol Hill. Let's go now to Brian Todd, who is on the scene. Brian, where are you? What do you see?
Jake, we're on the east side of the Capitol, the east front, the east steps, and you see all of that.
Oh, you were watching it, Tony?
Protesters on the steps. You can also see some Capitol Hill police on the balcony to the side. They don't appear to have the numbers to deal with this right now, but they're donning riot gear. We saw some smoke deployed earlier. Not sure exactly how that started, but you can see the Capitol. There are some Capitol Hill police up there, probably awaiting orders on what to do. And we are told that there are reinforcements coming from different law enforcement up here, but they are not here yet. I can tell you that. There was a group of DC police, 20 or so, that showed up here a short time ago, went around the side of the building, and we believe went inside, but we're not sure. Clearly, it's supposed that the police that we're seeing up there on that balcony, they are not moving. They're observing right now. They've done some riot gear, and they have not moved yet to move these protesters up the steps. Let's have Christine, our photojournalist, you got some cheers going up here. I was going to show you another set of steps.
Trump silent
here.
as protesters breach U.S. Capitol.
Not sure what started the cheering, but clearly it's, this has gotten out of hand. These protesters got up the steps. They breached the barricades more than an hour ago. Got up the steps, some of them got inside. And we did see a large group of Metropolitan Washington police go inside the building, we believe. So they need to be trying to deal with that from the inside first before they move out here. But they have not shown up in huge numbers at this plaza yet. We also know that on the west side of the Capitol, it's very, very tense. With a lot of flashbangs going on. Protesters breached the barricades there. Some of them climbed up on these risers that were set up for the inauguration. And we are just waiting to see when law enforcement shows up and in what kind of numbers, because right now, I can tell you, they don't have the numbers here to deal with this problem.
All right, Alex Marquardt is also on the scene, and I'm getting texts, as I'm sure Dan and Abby are as well, from members of Congress, Trump supporters, Biden supporters, Democrats, Republicans, who are stunned. They have been told by Capitol Police they have to shelter in place in their office. Is it because of a terrorist attack on the United States? It's because Trump supporters are violently, in some cases, forcing themselves into the United States Capitol, stopping the constitutional proceedings of the counting of the electoral votes for Joe Biden, the president-elect. Alex Marquardt, where are you and what are you seeing?
Jim, we're still on the western side of the Capitol. It is halted to read what it is to the wall of the Capitol.
All right, Alex, your phone's going in and out. We're going to check back with you when your connection's better. Let's go to Manu Raju, who I think is inside the Capitol building. Manu, where are you? What do you see?
Yeah, well, Jake, we are being told ordered to stay inside our offices, not to
shelter in place
because of protesters now storming both the House and the Senate. They are inside the building. An unprecedented situation, something that lawmakers are stunned themselves to see.
Thanks.
Getting word about how some of this
all those guitars are here
to lawmakers while the debate was happening over the certification of the electoral votes in the House chamber. According to poll reports that just came into us moments ago, the officer told lawmakers, House members, that they may need to duck under their chairs. He said that protesters, we now have, this was what the officer said, we now have individuals that have reached the Capitol building. They are in the rotunda area. Now, the rotunda is, of course, the big dome that separates the House and the Senate
Dude, look
and
at all those
inside
people
that,
going up to the
just,
Capitol.
Feet away from both chambers. There were many protesters there, which that's what prompted the Capitol Police to warn lawmakers to cover themselves. They said at that point there was no threat to the chamber, but seeing the pictures that are coming in, Jake and Wolf, there are so many protesters that are just feet away from where House members are and where they have been told to essentially lock down inside the chamber themselves. If there's concern about some of these protesters getting onto the House floor, these House lawmakers have been told to go into the cloakrooms. Those cloakrooms are where the actual members from each side gather. They meet. They have when they go off of the House floor. So they're urging them to take cover there if necessary. The Senate side of the Capitol also concerns because there are many protesters around the Senate floor right now, and that's why the proceedings in the Senate have gone into recess as well. And senators are sitting inside the chamber themselves. Nobody's allowed to go in. The reporters aren't allowed to go and see what's happening. But at the moment, a very, very tense situation where police here clearly have been overrun by these protesters who have stormed the building, stormed the barricades, have walked past the security, and are now all over this building right now. The question is, how long does it last? But at the moment, people are being told, stay inside, stay safe, make very little noise, don't draw attention to yourself, because they're not sure who these individuals are, because they have any firearms or what their intentions are. At the moment, they struggle to get the situation under control.
It is an absolutely shameful, disgusting situation that we are witnessing here, but eminently predictable, with the outgoing President of the United States refusing to accept reality, refusing to concede defeat, attacking every single Republican who gets in his way, including his own Vice President. Pamela Brown, tell us more about the security situation on Capitol Hill.
Well, I can tell you right now, Jake, there are discussions about evacuating the Vice President Pence, given how unwieldy the situation and potentially dangerous the situation has become. It's unclear right now as to whether Pence has officially been evacuated from the building. But what I can tell you is at the very least, Jake, there are discussions ongoing as we speak about getting him out of there. And if it hasn't already happened yet, it very well could soon. That's where we are. Of course, Pence is the presiding officer there.
Bro, I want to see the Beazle. He was 2 years old.
And clearly this was
No, he
not
was.
how officials
No, he was a
planned
puppy.
for
It
this
was
to
4
go,
years ago.
for the Vice President to potentially be evacuated
Dude, that shit was
from
4
the building.
fucking
Of course,
years ago.
worth noting, this is all happening as the White House has not commented. The president has not
My
commented
mom.
or said anything directly about the chaos that's going on at the White House.
Well,
Dude, the
just
Beazle
tweets,
must be there
something.
somewhere, right?
It's not a call to stand down. And let me go to Jim Acosta at the White House now to bring us news on that, because just a couple of minutes ago, Jim, the president, he did not say, please stop what you're doing, but he did issue a tweet.
Look at my eyes.
Rather weak one.
I'm looking on a 73-inch TV, dude. I'm just like, I'm looking at trying to look at everything, you know.
Finally, on all of this, after this has been going on for over an hour, the president tweeting just a few moments ago, please support our Capitol Police and law enforcement. They are truly on the side of our country. Stay peaceful, with an exclamation mark. But as you said, Jake, he is not telling these protesters to leave the Capitol. And in fact, earlier this afternoon, when he was down on the National Mall, he was egging on these supporters to go down to the Capitol and make their voices heard. And of course, now they are storming the Capitol in a way that looks like open rebellion in Washington, D.C., with no potential to knock this down. It seems at this point. I was just talking with a Trump advisor a few moments ago who was just outraged over this and said, shame on POTUS for throwing gasoline on this fire and not doing anything to stop it. I will tell you, Jake, just a few moments ago.
Yeah, YouTube deleted all of them.
Marines stationed outside the West Wing. That's usually an indication.
YouTube deleted every single one of my.
You can almost take it to the bank, Jake. That
The screen froze. It's cool. I'm still here.
Watching all of this unfold, watching what he egged on unfold, and is essentially watching the world burn.
YouTube deleted all my January 6 videos. 6 hours of documentation.
He should be going into the briefing room. You know this all too well as a former White House correspondent yourself. He should be going into the briefing room and telling these protesters to stop and go home. He is not doing that.
that makes him responsible for what's happening right before
Pence
our eyes.
evacuated.
Absolutely, Jim. I mean, when that Trump advisor you spoke to said that the shame
Let's
on
see if that
POTUS
comes
for,
true.
for pouring fuel on the fire.
He's going to court for it right now.
President Trump has been spilling fuel like
They're
the
just
Exxon Valdez.
revving up the trial,
this
man.
Is not like some new development. He created this mess.
This is a bonfire of the insanities that we're watching in the nation's capital right now, and it all flows from Trump. He has been
Let me turn up
lighting
the
these matches for weeks now. He was lighting these matches down in the National Mall earlier today, telling people to go down to the Capitol, telling them at one point, I mean, misleading them into thinking that he was going to join them down on the Capitol. So it was essentially an invitation to join the President of the United States down at the Capitol to give these lawmakers a piece of their minds. And now this is what we're left with. This is the ugly aftermath of what we're left with. And Jake, what is the plan to get these people out of there? My goodness. On June the 1st, the president said federal law enforcement forces, National Guard, they tear gas, they pummel people to get people out of Lafayette Park, get people away from the church so he can hold a Bible in front of the church. There appears to be no plan in place at this point to clear all of these capitals away, these protesters away from the Capitol. This is just bedlam on the streets of the nation's capital. This is Trump's rebellion.
It's absolutely, and it is the natural development of all of this. So many cowardly Republican congressmen in that building trying to appease the president and his angry base by rebelling and committing an attempted act of sedition. And here is the physical manifestation of it. Maharaja, you have some news.
Yeah, it seems to be very, very tense and very serious outside the House floor. There's a report that is coming from the pool reporters who are on that side of the Capitol saying there's an armed standoff at the House front door. The police officers have their guns drawn at someone who's trying to reach the front door. They tried to reach the main doors, but there was a heavy barricade and police presence. But to repeat, according to the House pool reports that we're getting in right now, there's an armed standoff at the House front door. Police officers have their guns drawn at someone who's trying to reach the front door. Now, we're also told the House lawmakers who have been sheltering in place inside the House chamber while this is all unfolding as they were debating the election certification, and they have been told to evacuate. They're being evacuated. That's what we've been told. We've also been told that Mike Pence, Vice President of the United States, who's presiding over the Senate chamber, he has also been evacuated. It's unclear where all the senators are at the moment, but a lot of the protesters, they're all over this building. They've breached the barricades. They've breached the security. There are many of them outside the House chamber. But at the moment, this serious situation of an armed standoff outside the House floor. We'll see. Hopefully this gets resolved peacefully.
Look at the old man with the mask around his chin.
Protesters that asked for reinforcements to deal with this situation that is escalating and going out of control here, guys.
It sounds absolutely awful. Dan the Bash,
thank you, Jerry.
Just got some news from Congressman Jerry Connolly, Democrat.
Thank you, David.
Yeah, just to add to what Monty was saying, he was reporting that the House members are being evacuated from the House chamber. One member, Jerry Connolly, says that they were given gas masks on the House floor. These are members of Congress. They're doing their constitutional duty to try to certify the next president of the United States given gas masks. And the reason is because tear gas was used in the rotunda, probably as a response to, I wouldn't even call them protesters, anarchists.
Let me bring in former police commissioner of the police force in both D.C. and Philadelphia, Charles Ramsey. Chief Ramsey, I guess the first question I have for you is how would one even try to get control of the situation so that the House and the Senate can resume their constitutional duty that has to happen today according to law?
Well, I mean, they're going to need to get reinforcements, no question about that. Start by clearing the outside, get the people outside, away from the building, get that security. The ones inside, you got to force them out. I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous. You cannot allow this
to continue.
God damn! Look at that.
There are MOUs that are in place with both the Metropolitan Police, the Park Police, the National Capital Region, agencies.
That scene right there, the crowd is crazy.
I don't know who they're calling. I'm trying to reach out now to get more information. But they need to bring in a lot more resources and get this thing settled down, get it cleared out. And it's time for them to just get people cleared out of there. It's not going to look pretty, but they got to get it done.
They are telling members of Congress to shelter in place. They are evacuating members of the House and Senate from doing their constitutionally prescribed duties. There are fights. There are people breaching police lines. There are people climbing up walls. Have you ever seen anything like this?
No, and I don't think anybody else has either. In fact, I know they haven't. Not in the United States. I mean, maybe in some third world country. But, you know, here you got a situation where the president's stirring the pot. He's got his allies in there. They have unleashed something that they cannot control. And they need to understand that. Now, control can be regained. And again, I'm telling you now, it's not going to be pretty.
Happy 420, everybody.
We would do whatever we had to do to get them the hell out of there. But, you know, they never should have gotten this far. Never should have gotten this far.
President Trump he tweeted a comment, not what I think you would want if you were the police chief right now. He wrote, "Please support our Capitol Police and law enforcement. They are truly on the side of our country. Stay peaceful." It's odd that he said stay peaceful given the fact that this crowd is not peaceful. So there's no way that they could stay peaceful. They have already stormed the Capitol. What would you want President Trump to tweet right now to de-escalate this?
What I want the president to do is shut the hell up and get out of the way. I mean, the guy is like cancer. You know, how much more can you give me? You know, at some point in time, if he's not going to do the right thing, and tell him to get the hell out of the Capitol and act like they've got some sense, then just shut up. He stirred him up. He got this whole thing going. This is as close to a coup attempt as this country has ever seen. That's what you're looking at, folks. That is what you're looking at. And it's absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And a lot of people are responsible for this.
Well, absolutely. This is sedition. We have been saying this now for weeks. This is sedition. This is attempting to undermine the rule of law through use of force. And yeah,
I bet you that guy went to prison.
They have done it.
Right. Is there any way President...
I mean, it's just crazy.
Go ahead.
They cannot control. And they need to understand that. Now, control can be regained, and again, I'm telling you now,
it's coming up.
And if I was there, I guarantee you, we would do whatever we had to do to get them the hell out of there. But, you know, they never should have gotten this far. Never should have gotten this far.
President Trump he tweeted a comment, not what I think you would want if you were the police chief right now. He wrote, "Please support our Capitol Police and law enforcement. They are truly on the side of our country. Stay peaceful." It's odd that he said stay peaceful given the fact that this crowd is not peaceful. So there's no way that they could stay peaceful. They have already stormed the Capitol. What would you want President Trump to tweet right now to de-escalate this?
What I want the president to do is shut the hell up and get out of the way. I mean, the guy is like cancer. You know, how much more can you give me? You know, at some point in time, if he's not going to do the right thing and tell him to get the hell out of the Capitol and act like they've got some sense, then just shut up. He stirred him up. He got this whole thing going. This is as close to a coup attempt as this country has ever seen. That's what you're looking at, folks. That is what you're looking at. And it's absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And a lot of people are responsible for this.
Here it comes.
Absolutely. This is sedition. We have been saying this.
It's got to be right up
here.
here.
This is sedition. This is attempting to undermine the rule of law through use of force.
How much you want to bet that that guy went to fucking prison? You think they were able to figure out who that guy was? It's funny, isn't it? $209.50.
And they're not attempting. They have done it.
Right. Is there any way President...
I mean, it's just crazy.
Go ahead.
They've got to gain control. They got to gain control quickly, or it's going to get worse. This is not even nightfall yet, and you still got to deal with that.
Right, you need to get them out. You need to get them out of there before night. Before night, that's an excellent observation.
It's going to get worse. It's not going to get better. It's going to get worse.
Why haven't we knew this day was coming? We knew that President Trump likes to stir the pot. That's how you put it. I would say he likes to create stochastic terrorism. He likes to demonize and incentivize bad actions, right?
We knew the day was coming, but I don't think anybody would have anticipated.
Where's
that
my
people would
freaking
have gone this
phone?
far to seriously
My
overrun
phone.
the United States Capitol. I just don't think, and I'm sure the Capitol Police had extra people on duty, went to 12-hour shifts, all days off canceled. Every department in that region has activated their emergency plans. Who could have anticipated this? I mean, I'm watching it, it's like watching a bad B movie. I haven't seen anything like it. If I seem a little upset, it's because I am. I mean, this is the United States of America. That's our United States Capitol.
I think we all feel this way.
Protect and defend it.
Well, I think we all feel that way. You might feel also something different because you were once the police chief of the Metropolitan Police Department here in D.C., and so this is in many ways, I would think, your worst nightmare, and something that you worked very hard with all of your police officers to make sure never happened.
Exactly right. We had major demonstrations. If you remember back in the IMF World Bank days, we had major demonstrations in the city, and some of them got pretty close to losing it. But we never had anything even come close to coming this far. And again, they have to gain control. Take the gloves off and do what they got to do, but they got to get control and get that Capitol back.
The Capitol Police are asking for additional law enforcement assistance. I imagine that would be the Metropolitan Police Department, that would be the U.S. Secret Service, perhaps even the National Guard, the U.S. Park Police, of course.
Park Police.
And what would you do? How do you clear it out? Obviously, people have a right to peaceably protest. That's not what this is, because they have stormed the Capitol and stopped congressional action. I don't know that anything like this has happened since the days of the Vietnam War, frankly, when people and protesters for the Vietnam War used to go in there and block the halls of Congress to try to stop proceedings.
Yeah, they're going to have to really get enough resources there so they can start to move the crowd. And they're going to have to push. I don't know if they're going to use gas or not, but as far as I'm concerned, you do what you have to do to clear the Capitol.
And let me make clear.
You just can't have this.
Let me make clear. I'm not comparing what's going on here to Vietnam War protesters. Those people are trying to stop a war, and these people are trying to start one.
But I think what you're saying, because we're both old enough to remember, those are protests that did get out of hand. They got very violent on both sides, both from law enforcement and from protesters. And so I haven't seen anything like it since then. Obviously, but
48,000 again, guys.
That era. It didn't go that far, even in that era.
No, and those were generally peaceful protesters, and storming the Capitol is not peaceful protest. Chief Ramsey, thanks so much. Stay there. We're going to come back to you. I want to go back to Manu Raju, who's in Capitol Hill. And Manu, I'm hearing from a lot of Democrats and Republican Congress people who are frankly disgusted, shocked, and some of them are even scared.
Yeah, a lot of people are scared, Jake, because this is an escalating, chaotic situation. Police do not have it under control. There is, we're told, an armed standoff outside the House floor. It's unclear exactly how that has been resolved at the moment. There are members inside the House chamber. It's been locked. Other members have been evacuated to various parts of the Capitol complex. Senators also have been evacuated as well, and many locking themselves in their offices, told not to leave. Now, we're also just told that the members who are in the House, they've been told that there's tear gas in the rotunda, and to push back against any of these protesters, there's tear gas, so potentially that could become an issue here as the situation develops. And they've been told that there are masks under their seats in the House chamber that they can certainly put on if they need to. So there's a lot of there are members who have been told to go to shelter in place. Everybody has been told to shelter in place in this building. We have all been told we cannot leave this building because of the fact that there are protesters in all parts of the Capitol, the House side and the Senate side, through all levels. There have been reports of violent clashes between protesters and demonstrators, protesters and police trying to...
Oh, there's Beazle, dude. There's Beazle, everybody.
Violent interactions between the two sides, and just feet from where the House was just gathering to debate the certification of Joe Biden's election victory. That armed standoff.
2-year-old
Again, that is
Beazle.
unclear how that is resolved, but they've been told there is tear gas that's ready to be deployed if necessary as this escalating situation continues here, Jay.
If you're just joining us, it is almost 3 o'clock, and normally the House and Senate would be counting the electoral votes for the president-elect, Joe Biden, in this case, but that has stopped. The proceedings have stopped because Trump supporters have stormed the U.S. Capitol. There are violent confrontations going on. Members of Congress have been told to shelter in place. Many members of Congress, Trump supporters and Biden supporters alike, are appalled and scared. And frankly, it is appalling and it is frightening. We are witnessing an attempt at sedition. We are witnessing an attempt at a forceful overthrow of the U.S. government, or at least of the proceedings, the U.S. constitutionally prescribed proceedings of the counting of electoral votes. Let's go to Brian Todd, who is there amidst the chaos. Brian, what are you witnessing?
48-131, 48-120.
Well, Jake, if you can see, photojournalist Christine Leon is going to kind of zoom in to pass this flag when they go by. You can see protesters standing on top of some government vehicles that are parked at the foot of the stairs here on the east side. Now, in the last couple of minutes, we have seen some protesters make their way down the stairs. They're taking their time going down, so we really do not believe they're being pushed away by any law enforcement. And Christine, if you can pan to your left there, we can see the Capitol Hill Police on the left side of the balcony there. They've been standing there for several minutes, waiting for orders, seemingly. Some of them have donned riot gear, but they are, right now, observers to this situation. Now, again, the crowd, some of them have left the stairs, but they're still, clearly, as you can see, a lot of protesters on the stairs. We can also tell you that they have made their way up 3 sets of stairs here on the
Harmony's
east side
gone up over a penny and a half.
2 on either side of us, but not as dense as the crowd is not as dense on the other side, on the other stairways, as it is here. But these people clearly are emboldened. They don't feel any urgency to move. And the real question here, Jake, is when is law enforcement going to show up in force to try to get these people out? We
Almost choked on my hot
Maryland
coffee.
has instituted a curfew for 6 p.m., but that's a few hours from now. The question is, when are they going to show up to try to move some of these people out? They may be trying to address the situation inside the Capitol first, before they move on these people, because we did see some Washington Metropolitan Police show up, about 20 of them, a short time ago, and they moved around to the side of the building, seemingly to try to go inside. So they may be inside dealing with the situation inside before they move outside and deal with this. But these people don't show any inclination at all to move. And right now, they're not being forced to move at all, Jake.
For months, the president and his supporters on Capitol Hill and MAGA media has been lying to the American people, lying to Trump supporters about election fraud that did not happen. Court after court ruled that there was no evidence of it. The states have certified the election. The electors met. The Electoral College met. The election is over. Joe Biden won. Donald Trump lost. And yet, this is what he has unleashed. You cannot put the genie back in the bottle when you unleash it. And especially
You can when you become president again.
And motivated by lies and
you can manipulate everything. You manipulate the rules,
You know, it's
change
really
everything.
sad, Jake, that just a little while ago when the president was speaking over at that rally on the ellipse not far from the White House, he uttered these words. He said, "We're probably not going to be cheering so much for some of them because you'll never take back our country with weakness. You have to show strength and you have to be strong. as he encouraged these protesters to walk down to the U.S. Capitol. And now we see what's going on, something totally unprecedented here in the United States Capitol. Protesters not only taking over the outside of Capitol Hill, but inside as well. And they're endangering right now a lot of people. Caitlin Collins is covering all of this at the White House. Caitlin, what else is going on? Where is the President of the United States?
Right now, Wolf, we are told he is sitting in the Oval Office. Of course, he has only sent one tweet on the matter that we are seeing unfold on Capitol Hill right now.
He's watching TV, eating popcorn, drinking coffee, just like us.
He has not called on them to leave
Wow.
the buildings that they have.
Dude, I was right. That's funny that I said that.
Breaking windows, going into the chambers where, of course, restrictions are in place and they have breached security. The president is sitting in the Oval Office right now and has not instructed his own supporters to get out of the building.
Here come the police, man. It's all fun and games until the cops show up.
He only tweeted one tweet about respecting Capitol Hill police. Clearly, these people are not doing.
5 minutes behind, man. Let's jump ahead, shall we? Let's go to the live feed. See if it'll load. I figured they were going to run a commercial, but you can't run a commercial when the fucking the revolution is happening. Oh, fuck! Dude, they're blocking off the doors with furniture!
Police officers drawing their firearms, concerned about a violent, potentially deadly situation, and trying to de-escalate the situation.
Look at the guns!
This, we were told some time ago, this armed standoff.
People hiding
it's
shit.
unclear what exactly is happening in the House chamber right now. There's also another picture that we saw of one of these protesters in the Senate chamber himself, sitting actually at the chair that Mike Pence, who's the president
Right, Anthony?
of the Senate,
Anthony, he's a big boy. He can
was
speak
sitting,
himself.
the protester sitting
Empire
in the
crumbles
chair
from within.
of the presiding officer who sits during the floor debate. So you're seeing protesters breach, actually get onto the Senate floor, and on the House side of the Capitol, members ducking, taking cover, wearing gas masks as an individual outside the House chamber with multiple police officers and their firearms drawn right just moments ago. Hopefully the situation resolves itself in a peaceful manner, but you can see, well, how scary the situation is right now, and the fact that members of Congress are being evacuated, wearing gas masks, uncertain where this all leads.
Yeah, it's, this is the United States Congress, and you see these law enforcement officers with their weapons pointing toward that window. Looks like it was smashed. Pamela Brown, you're getting more information from inside as well.
I sure am. A law enforcement source tells me, Wolf, that there was an MPD officer inside the Capitol building who called in distress, an officer in distress inside the Capitol building. This was around 15 minutes ago or so, and that officer is asking for additional assets to be deployed to him inside the Capitol building. This is an MPD officer inside, as we're seeing this play out in these Getty images right here, in distress, asking for more help, saying, hey, we're getting overrun here by people coming in, anarchists, we need some more help. I spoke to this law enforcement source who said, we are stretched very thin trying to hold back. We don't have enough people. That is a direct quote. We're stretched very thin. Of course, I asked, wasn't the police prepared for this possibility? And what I'm told from this local law enforcement source is that they are just outnumbered, that there are higher numbers than they had prepared for at this moment. But right now, as we speak, they are working on getting additional law enforcement there inside the building as well to help.
What was all the video of all the military?
Working with Capitol Police, Park Police. Based on your reporting, Pamela, where's the U.S., the National Guard, the D.C. National Guard, which had been activated by the mayor yesterday?
That's the question. As we look at these pictures outside the Capitol building, where is the National Guard?
That's what I just said.
Know is whether
where were the military? They showed them all on the airplanes coming into Washington. Where are they all?
Check, Wolf, was that Nancy Pelosi, other lawmakers had asked for them.
Why weren't they there ahead of time?
I don't have the direct answer for you right now in terms of where that
Why weren't they there waiting for this?
From DOD, but that is certainly a question. This is no surprise in a sense, Wolf, that we're seeing these crowds at the Capitol building today. The president has essentially been calling on his supporters to do just this. Of course, the way this is playing out is surprising, in large part because it is so out of control, because law enforcement is essentially overwhelmed by the protesters there, Wolf.
You know, and we were bracing for this yesterday and the day before, all over downtown Washington, K Street, every place else. All these buildings were being boarded up big time out of fear that these protesters would get violent. And there was enormous concern expressed by the mayor, Muriel Bowser, and others. Get ready, this is awful. But who would have thought that this was going on? You see these protesters, we don't know if they're armed or not armed. They're actually engaging in breaching the U.S. Capitol.
There's the bees.
Four Seasons landscaping.
We are seeing a coup attempt playing out as we speak. It's a remarkable scene, Wolf, and it's also remarkable that given what we've known was potentially going to happen, that basically the Capitol Police and other law enforcement, they have had to scramble in this last hour or so to try
Diesel,
to
2 years
get
old.
help. They needed more
He was
help,
tiny.
and it certainly raises questions as to why that wasn't
Whoever the mayor is, whoever the chief of police is, who's ever in charge of security, they all need to be fired tomorrow.
Yeah, I want to show our viewers that picture. What's going on?
Allow this?
Look at this. Look at this, John King. You and I have covered Capitol Hill for a long time. A protester is sitting there on the Senate floor, where normally the president of the Senate, it would happen to be the vice president, just a little while ago. A protester is sitting there in the well of the U.S. Senate. John, who would have ever believed we would see anything like
I bet you
this?
he went to prison.
Or sadly, Wolf, some people who will find this funny, or they'll say it's just a prank, or they will say, look at this picture, nobody in this picture is getting hurt, and that's all true. But it is part of something that is bigger and that is dangerous, and that simply, forgive me, we are a nation of laws. That is what the Republican Party says that we are.
He said there's some people who say it's funny. He's like, and that is all true. All right, you guys, thanks for watching. Hope you had fun. I will see you on the next show. Hope you enjoyed the almost hour. Right on. Peace. No organic cannabis. That's what I say. I'm at Nay's Garden on Twitter. I'll see you there on Twitter. Retweeting all my tweets, I'm sure. Bye, guys.